We all have passed, we all made choices that maybe weren't the best ones. As we grow up, we learn and evolve. Maybe the person you are right now would have done things differently back then. Regret would be a small word for the feeling Ryan is feeling right now. Ryan always had a small crush on Jungkook. They both were classmates. Ryan was the silent nerd of the class. Meanwhile, he was really popular in his school. Ryan used to be focused on her studies rather than other things that were happening around her. Happy birthday, Ryan, she hugged her and gave her flowers. Thank you, Evie, but let's go to the class first, we are late. Saying this, they went towards their class and many of her friends came to wish her. She thanked everyone and invited them for dinner at night. She was going back to her seat when she saw Jungkook entered. He went to his seat after the class ended. Ryan was picking up her notes, only they both were left in the class. They didn't had any interaction earlier, but it looked like he wanted to say something to her, and Ryan was busy picking up the notes, so when she stood up, she bumped into someone. She went numb and panicked. I'm sorry, I left my notes, so I went to take them. You are forgiven as it's your birthday, but you need to treat me to ice cream. Ryan smiled and said, of course, now we have the full day to spend together. Let's go for me to shopping. They both went to shopping together. They both went there together. After doing all the things, they went towards the cafe. She didn't like the attention, so she wanted to spend her day with Ivy. Actually, she had a lot of friends after being a nerd, but still she wanted to spend her day with Ivy, and after that she called the others at night. While entering, she saw Jungkook was sitting there with his friends. She was not expecting him to be there. Their eyes met for a span of a second before she turned her head in another direction. Let's go and sit there. Okay, fine, but why are there so many tables here? She didn't reply and went to the other table. She was thinking, why would he be interested in her? They both were classmates, but they never really interacted with each other. And on the other hand, he was a person who usually avoided being in any kind of scandal with girls. She was thinking all of that, but suddenly she felt someone staring at her. She looked up and saw Jungkook was sitting there, and now he was there alone. His friends had left, and his chair was facing towards her. She was focused. What was happening? It's not that he was staying there for her. Maybe he was looking because she was his classmate and she was in the same cafe. I will use the washroom real quick. Till then, order for me too. Yeah, sure. She went away and she called the waiter and ordered. She was sitting and suddenly the waiter came with a small pretty cake on which happy birthday was written. She was confused. I didn't order that. That gentleman over there asked me to deliver it to you. She looked up and saw Jungkook, who was looking at his phone. She was confused. Why would he remember her birthday? The both didn't even talk. She asked again. Yes, ma'am, I'm sure you can ask him. Why is there any kind of problem? No, it's fine. Thank you so much. The waiter went away. Now she saw him coming towards her. He came and sat on the table and said, Happy birthday. I hope you like it. Thank you, it's pretty, she replied while admiring the cake. He smiled at her and was about to leave when she called him. There is a small dinner at my home. It would be nice if you could come. One mentally slapped herself for saying that. Why would he agree? They are not that close. She just blurted out anything without thinking. She was ready to accept the rejection. Sure, I would love to come. I have to go now. See you later. Bye. She was just getting back to her senses and she was still in shock. But what just had happened? Ivy came and saw the cake on the table. Wow, Ryan, you're such a great friend. I'm just craving for a delicious chocolate cake. She just forcefully smiled at her. Her mind was still processing everything. She said something that brought her back to the reality. I already ordered a cake for you, but it's fine. The more the better, and we're definitely going to finish this one now. Blew the candle, she cut the cake. She was smiling the whole time. She was excited to see him. After that, both of them went home. She was getting ready for the night. She was going through her closet. Her parents also gifted her many dresses, but they were revealing for her. But the dress Ivy gifted her caught her eye. It was a cherry red black lace dress. She suddenly had an urge to try that dress. She put that dress on and went towards the mirror, but she couldn't reach the straps on the back. She was trying to tie them, but suddenly someone said, "Need some help?" She freezed from her place and looked back and saw him sitting on her bed. "You didn't told me the time, so I came a bit early as your parents told me to go upstairs as you were here." I mean, words were not coming out of her mouth. He stood up and started going towards her. Her back touched the gold mirror. He just captured her between his arms. And he said, "I think coming early was definitely worth it." He just grabbed her and turned her around. His hands slowly made their way towards her back. As his cold fingers touched her bare back, he slowly started tying the back of her dress. Meanwhile, her heart was not in her control. After trying the last note, he turned her face towards him, and without saying anything, he kept. She knew she was going to get a heartache today. Her heart couldn't handle this much of shock in a single day. And before he was going to pull away, she started moving. They broke it, and he said, "You're looking beautiful. Thank you. I'll be waiting for you downstairs." He went and sat on the bed, touching her lips. Did he really? It was not a dream, right? Suddenly I entered her room. "Oh my God, you're looking too old. Let me take a picture." She clicked some picture and she got ready. "By the way, you didn't told me he was your friend." "I was going to tell you. I just wished Miss I invited him." "Oh really? It doesn't sound that convincing to me. I will be happy for it to become a thing. Make sure. Sure, I can't wait to see him." From that day, their relationship grew. Days turned into months, and now both were an inseparable couple. My parents asked me to call you for lunch today. Okay, we will go together after the college. "So how are you, Jungkook?" "I'm fine, uncle. You tell." "I'm good too. I hope my daughter is not giving you a hard time." "Why are you saying that? I'm a good girl." He just chuckled and said, "Definitely not. If she did, I'm ready to handle it all." "Don't tease the children. They were looking like a happy family. Everything that they both wished for in their life. So what went wrong?" "There are other ways to deal with this. Please don't leave." "I don't think this is working out. I think we're too young for this. We need to focus on our career more." Saying this, he left a sobbing Jungkook behind. After this incident, he went to state for further studies, and she started focusing on her career. He was shattered. "You wanna hang out? I'm not in the mood." "No, seriously, just because of that, you're ruining her mood. Don't you dare talk about her like that. But you need to know the truth." Still trying to control his anger, he said, "What are you even trying to say?" "Why do you think she would break up with you? She's such a selfish person, a gold digger who just wanted money, and now she might have found someone who could give her all that luxurious life she left to here." He was not believing any of that, but he said something that made him shocked. "I know you won't believe, but you can even ask her parents. I proved too." He showed him a video where her father was saying that she's not doing right by choosing money over everything. He was shocked because her parents supported their relationship, and now he just wanted to take revenge from her. His mind stopped working. He was feeling betrayed. His trust was shattered. Meanwhile, Mark was leaning against the door. Finally, he did what he wanted to do. He was jealous. "Should have known it was too good to be true. I wasn't enough for you. I think you have made it clear. You ruined everything. The only thing I don't feel towards you is now hate." After 4 years, she was getting ready for a party. "I could take it all back. I could. I made a big mistake. I need to stop acting like I'm happy when clearly I'm not." By the continuous pressure of my parents, I didn't told him because I didn't want to bother him. My parents thought he was getting a mechanic career. They pretended in front of him that they were supporting so that he won't do anything against it. I wanted him to focus on his career to achieve his dreams, so I also wanted to do the same, but I knew this was not possible if we continued that. But now I regret. I wish I had solved it by some other ways, but what's done can't be undone. Later he got to know that she was engaged and he belonged to a very rich family and he was thinking of her as a gold digger. He thought that's the reason she left him and now finally her plan has worked. She found a rich guy but a gold digger. Her eyes roamed around the room and got stuck with him. Her heart started beating fast after seeing him. They both were lost in each other's eyes. Meanwhile, he was also staring at you more at the hand of the beast. You tried to remove his hand, but he was not letting you go. I left you in this lifetime, but I won't make that mistake in the next. He left that party and went home. After 2 days, he had a meeting where he saw the person who they were going to collaborate with was her fiancé. But one thing was more shocking, he was being touched with everyone. I think, Mr. J, you are forgetting this is my office. Come on, man, not a big deal. Girls are made for this thing only. My fiancé refused for this, because she lives in the 90s. So I need to take care of myself because of her. Saying this, he started laughing, and here Jungkook was boiling in anger. He thought whatever happened, he still couldn't tolerate someone speaking shit about you. He grabbed his collar. Man, what are you doing? He punched him. They both started fighting. Their secretary came there and separated them. I'm insane. I don't want to collab with such a man. I'm cancelling this collab. Get out of here before I break your jaw. He stomped his feet and went from there, and Jungkook finally calms down. Later that week, he was out for a meeting and he saw that you were standing there with him in front of a hotel. He went towards her and grabs her hand. She turns around and her boy stopped looking at him. He wanted to stop Jungkook, but he was still scared of him, so he let him go. He dragged her towards his car and she quietly sat there without uttering a word. He brought her to his house and sat on the sofa. Meanwhile, she was standing there scared, thinking what was going to happen. What? I think you have some hearing problem. I told you to. Are you out of your mind or what? So now you are asking me that question. You were ready to go with that in that hospital, and now you have problem putting up a show. What are you even trying to say? Do you think I'm that disgusting? I never thought you would stop so low for money. You could have asked me. I would have given you any amount you wanted. But look at you roaming with that. You are just a toy for him. I think you are going too far. I don't think you have any right to interfere in my life. Tell me any amount you want. But it's the last time I'm saying stop wandering with him. How can you go to a hotel with him? Were you ready for what you wanted? After many years, I saw him today. After a breakup, he left the country. I tried to find him, but it was of no use. The only thing I could feel was regret. Back to present. She was trying to say something, but he was not letting her speak. He was continuously talking. He was frustrated at the fact he thought that Vine agreed on the demand of his fiancé and was ready to go with him. And he hated himself for that. Meanwhile, she was standing there with tears in her eyes that were threatening to fall, and she left without saying anything. Later that evening, Ray again came to Jungkook and said he wanted to talk about something important, so they met at a cafe. Is something going between you and Vine? Or are you guys having something behind my back? There's nothing like that. But I have one interesting offer for you. What? You can have her. I don't have any interest in her. She's a boring person. It's just her parents forced her for this, otherwise she won't even let me touch her. Even today I forcefully bought her. She's just plain difficult. So I don't think she's of any use to me, but in return I want your collab. And here he was shocked listening to his word, and he was slowly realizing all of that. He wanted to show hell to Ray, but he knew he needed to focus on you first. So he left from the cafe in search of Vine. But before that, he called Mark, asked him to meet him at the cafe. He was patiently waiting for Mark. He was getting frustrated at the point what he did to deserve all these things that were happening to him. He arrived and came towards Jungkook. What happened? Why call me so urgently? If you ever considered me as your friend, I'm begging you, please tell me the truth. What are you talking about? I'm talking about wine. He went speechless. After that incident, Mark was feeling guilty. He said the worst phase of Jungkook, his jealousy took over him and he ruined his friend. Guilt was eating him up from inside, but still he didn't have the courage to tell him the truth. That's why he kept his mouth shut. I'm requesting you again, please tell me the truth. I'm sorry. All the recording, everything was fake, right? They were fake. My ego was too high, my jealousy ruined everything. But the recordings were really given to me by my parents. Why would they give you that? I don't know the reason behind that. You can ask them, but I hope you can forgive me for my sins. I'm really guilty for ruining everything. Best of luck for the future. He's saying this, he walked from there leaving a guilty person behind who was regretting everything. He knew where she would be. Whenever she felt sad, she would go to a spot under a tree. And when he reached there, he saw her sitting on the bench looking down. Quietly, it was raining lightly. He went towards her and quietly sat on the end of the bench. And he called her. She stiffened after hearing the voice, but still continued to look down. He kept her coat on her shoulders, and she slowly removed it. Are you testing my patience now, right? He slowly moved towards her and held her chin and made her look towards him. Her eyes were red and puffy, and he was feeling guilty. He engulfed her in a tight hug till she stopped sobbing. She slowly wrapped her arm around him. They both were missing each other's warmth, and now they don't want to let go of each other. He slowly starts caressing her cheeks and made her look into his eyes with a gentle... I know I shouldn't have said those words without knowing anything, but you know that the situation was like that. I had to believe. I was angry at you for ruining our moments and memories. I think it's my fault for letting you go. We could have solved things together, but I still made a huge mistake by leaving. What could I have done when my parents were forcing me? They pretended they supported us in front of you. I didn't want to break your heart, but I didn't have an option back then. The only reason I believed everything that Mark said was your parents, because I thought no parents would want bad for their children, and I thought he was a good friend, but guess I was wrong. We both are at fault. I don't want to regret further. The reason I came back is for you. I don't think I will be able to give that place to anyone else. I don't think I like you anymore. I mean, I agree all the things that happened were unfair to both of you. But I think in the process, I felt for Jay. What do you mean, Ryan? He's not right for you. He's a characterless person. I would have agreed to anything, but going back to him isn't a good decision. Suddenly he stopped and saw she was there standing there laughing, and he realized what she was trying to do. Do you think this is funny? But instead of replying, she just moved closer and grabbed his collar. He was taken aback but responded. After some minutes, they were lost in each other, and they pulled out, and he placed his hand, and she replied, "This time I'm not letting you go." She said that. She laid her head on the shoulder comfortably. He held her hand, both now waiting for her to start their journey.